So, in case you're wondering, I may be, because of issues here, I have the Twitch mod on my tablet open because I'm having so much trouble switching between the things right now. So, Spooky Joe says, "You're an old man, you make the rules." That's right, my friend. Spooky Joe and I go way back. So I'm dressed appropriately for the game. If you've tuned in on my Saturday Star Wars game, I was wearing a tunic then. So there you go. Now this time, I'm dressed for the office. Every job I've had since the old pizza delivery days has been in an office, so this is a very comfortable environment for me. And here we go. We're gonna get started. Let me just... Is it somebody on the phone? No, I'm streaming. Yeah, no. We're gonna play the Stanley Parable. Yeah, okay. Bananas look weird on the green screen. Welcome, everybody! This is Speak of the Choker. This is my birthday stream. The camera view is a little tight. I'll try to keep my hands within the boundaries. We're playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, says right up there. Ultra Deluxe, this is brand new. This was released today. You're saying, isn't this an 8-year-old game? And I'm saying, I don't know, math's not my strong point. But yes, this is an old game that I never played. I've seen about the first 30 minutes. I have a general idea of the premise, but I don't know the twists and the turns and the things that are very interesting that got a lot of people talking about this game. I shut down all the spoilers back in the day because I told myself, this seems like my kind of game and I definitely want to play, and then I definitely never played. So here we are. The Ultra Deluxe came out and I said, take my money. We're playing it. I don't really know how this fits in with the fact that this is my birthday stream, but I just felt like playing this game today. So there you go. That's how it fits in. One of the things I usually check, I don't check any spoilers or anything before I play a game. One of the things I do normally check is how long it takes to beat. And this was like 3 to 7 hours. That's not a lot of time, but it's also a big range. So we are going to just see what we can get through today. And I am dressed on theme. This may change over time. If this is more of a business casual office, I'm gonna have to lose the jacket. So, you know, and if it's real casual, probably gonna lose the tie. We'll have to see. I don't know. I don't know what kind of office this is. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am using a controller. I think this also tells you what kind of game this is. When I went over to controls, and we have crouch, pause, interact, look, and move. I mean, it's hard to get fewer controls than that. Game I played last week, Sable, which is just beautiful, kind of expansive, explory game. I think it had twice the controls. So I'm guessing there's not a lot of combat, or any at all. Okay, let's dig in. I've played 0% of this game. When I started it up, it said, what time is it? Like, where you are. Which is interesting. Yeah, you have Sable. Serwin has Sable. Really enjoyed it. I will definitely be going back to it. I don't know when. Maybe I'll do it on my own time, but definitely Sable really brought out a lot of really kind of interesting feelings and kind of an inner calmness that I don't experience very often. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Sable. Let's dig in. I don't know. I keep saying that, and then here we are. I've downsized my giant mug today. It's still here, but for my birthday, I'm going my Mr. Rogers mug. It's my birthday. I get to do what I want. I'm gonna have fun. I mean, the other mug's fun too, don't get me wrong. It's probably more fun, but I like the Mr. Rogers. Let us begin. Here we are. The end is never the end. Like I said,
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
We're gonna let him talk.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
That sounds like me.
Employee number 427's job was simple.
No jacket?
He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Oh. Stanley was happy?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Oh.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete
COVID.
Isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, so I have seen probably the first 20, 30 minutes, and I was like, no, stop this before anything quote-unquote interesting happens. So my plan is to play this, I don't know, like me. Like I really do want to try to be true to myself, even though I know a little bit. I don't know any of the big surprises or anything where it goes. I'll tell you what I know when it happens for the first time. and then we'll experience that together. Okay. So usually there's at least one in an office this size. There's going to be cake in the break room. Somebody was late
All of
to a
his
meeting and brought
co-workers
in
were
donuts.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Is this field of view off?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
A who farted mug. I do love a fun mug. I had to get rid of a lot of mugs when I moved offices. Oh, it was sad. There's some old computers. Let me know if that field of view feels off to anybody else. I mean, I'll manage, but it seems a little odd. Speed up. Thought maybe there. Ooh. People left in a hurry, maybe? Maybe. So I wonder if the time is like, why'd they make a big deal about asking me the time? Because right here in my local time zone, it is 6:55, and that's just before lunch. I have no idea where I'm going. The average office is not really this complex. Sales in this quarter. I wish there was a zoom. There's no zoom. We could zoom in, and I could zoom on on OBS.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, here we go. When Stanley came to 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Oh, boy. I mean, we have to go on the right? I mean, we have to. So,
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay. Now we know. Now we have all the same information. I knew a little bit more than somebody who's never seen this game. When you make a decision that is against what the narrator says, he will compensate with some type of, I mean, it's almost like you're playing an improv game. I don't know if that continues or, for those of you who have played this, you know a lot more than I do, but I know a little bit more than that. I am a little curious about the replayability, if you were to just listen to him the whole time or break what he says the whole time. But if somebody says you go left, of course I go right. And it's so predictable that I and probably many other people would choose the right. Oh, we got a little coloring here.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been
I was
worth the
just
detour
admiring this
after all,
room.
just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
There we go.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Oh, it's saying I stood here? Well, maybe I keep moving. I did enjoy... Isn't that funny? I actually naturally reacted to the breaking color.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Coffee nut. Here's my coffee nut mug. All right, so the narrator is now
At this
being
point,
sarcastic.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Okay,
It's
so
possible that this is why everyone left.
You will. I love a cheesy coffee cup. All right, those don't do anything. Also, in
Stanley
case...
sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
So we have a complete fourth wall break already. I was not trying to make that happen. But that's interesting. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but the doors keep shutting behind me. I very much react to that because that's like what horror games do.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room.
I don't think it's a
took
horror
the first
game.
open door on his left to get back to business.
But I don't know. Oh, the first open door on his left. I mean, I'm literally just doing whatever the opposite is, which in a way is also very predictable. But look at that. Look at that. How... Okay, I mean, obviously the designers are trying to manipulate me and I don't like it, but that looks far more interesting than that. Although that light looks kind of interesting. All right, we're going this way. The door didn't shut. Okay, so maybe progress doesn't work. Do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years
The door
ago.
shut, and that actually scared me. I want to follow the instructions because I want to see what happens if I do, but it's so hard. I'm just such an oppositional person. Says every one of my managers at my office jobs. Some people in the chat know. Yeah, quite a few times getting in trouble. Wrong button. Wrong button. I'm trying to manage the stream on my tablet here. It's a little different just because I'm having some problems with the controls. There we go. Okay. Penalty for jumping on the cargo lift. Okay, so there's... Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause death. Oh, I almost fell off. Like, I started to dip. I didn't do that on purpose. Well, I'm not going to dive off. Okay, this actually does look like a very unsafe, unsecured area of the office. How do I... Can I not get out of here? Is this like my punishment? Oh, did I already lose? Oh, okay. I mean...
Look, Stanley, I think
okay.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
We have a her. Okay, I'm actually not trying to do the opposite of what he says.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Okay, that's creepy, but I'm gonna... Whatever the next thing he tells me to do, I'm gonna do that. Just whatever the next thing is. I'm really not trying to ignore everything he says, but everything he says is wrong. Okay, what's the next thing you want me to do? I'll do it. The next thing. I mean, he's kind of freaking me out with the let her into your life. Is it culty? Is he threatening me? Why is it? Oh, it's off.
That's her, Stanley.
Hello?
You need to be the one to do this.
Did I already get to the end of the game by making
if you can
5 wrong
truly
decisions?
place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, I said I would do whatever the next thing he said to do is. It's pick up the phone. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick up the phone. I said I would do it. I did the opposite of what he said pretty much every time, and then I said I'd pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there
I
we
can't
go.
move, in case you're wondering.
All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about
Your damn.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Whoa, this is trying to go at me. Well, now I don't want to go inside. He's like mocking me. All right.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Oh, wow. This turned dark quick. It was like fun, little lighthearted. This narrator is telling you what to do. I almost want to start over and just listen to him more because I feel like I broke the game. All right. We're going.
This is a very
creepy,
sad story about the
way.
death of a man named Stanley.
What? The death of a man named Stanley, like I've actually have died and this is the afterlife, or he's about to kill me. All right.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Oh, it's too real. Too real.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
Oh, no.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work.
Ooh, nice corner
One might
desk,
even
though.
feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
I love a corner desk. I'm gonna hit Y just to do it. Okay, nothing happens. X, B, trigger. Looks like A.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
I broke the
From
game.
behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Oh, no.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day
TV
while at
changed.
work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the
I don't like
building
this game
had
trying to trick
suddenly
me.
vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
No. No. Oh boy, I immediately became trapped, and I'm wondering if I really only made like 5 decisions.
So he went
This is
further.
painful.
He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Oh, this game is kind of torturing me a little. We're gonna We're gonna
As he
loosen the
wandered
tie
through
now.
this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths
Oh.
and destinations.
And the room keeps
Down
changing.
one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Okay, so we're looking for a round room with a lot of monitors. We're looking for yellow lines. Something tells me I'm not getting out of here alive, or at least intact.
It was such
I
a
don't know.
wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over.
I make my own sound effects, in case you're wondering. Woo! I recorded that myself. Renegade Puff. Raid. Good day, sir. Hope your Warhammer was great. Let's do a little... hold on. Let's do... Can I... Let me figure this out. I have controls for this now. There we go. Check out Renegade Puff. King of the Marshmallows. I don't think you call yourself that. But thank you for the raid. We just started the Stanley Parable, and Grandpa Joker figuring out his commands. I have a bot, but not a great bot. Evo told me about another bot, and I will work on it when I have a little bit more time. So yeah, I dress for the game I play, and I work in an office, so I'm dressed as an office drone. We're gonna get right back into it. I believe I might be at a dead end, so now the game is beating me over the head with my poor decision making, and it doesn't feel good. It feels bad. So we're gonna let the birthday excitement. I actually just loosened the tie because of how much the game is beating me, and in fact, I'm gonna unbutton the top button. Does it tell you when you hit a dead end? I don't know. I'm like 15 minutes in, and I watched this game when it originally came out, like 2013, and let's just say this is not what I saw. So I've already hit something new. So we're
Wishing
gonna find
beyond
out.
hope that it would never end.
The narrator
that he
is
might
knocking-
always feel
mocking
this
me.
free. Surely there's an answer down some new path.
I
Mustn't
think
there
I'll be restarting the game
Perhaps if he
soon.
played just one more time.
Oh, maybe literally right now. Press up to tell your wife you love her, and it's a fake wife because nobody will love Stanley, is what the narrator has already told
But
me.
there is no answer.
Oh.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed.
Oof, ouch.
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Oh. Oh.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't
Oh.
stop. Here, watch this.
What?
Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
What? Well, now what do I do? Okay, I think Y is reset to the beginning. Yeah, so basically the narrator tells you what's happening right before you do it, and it's a way of basically telling you what to do. And if you don't do it, then at first he kind of like playfully made up an excuse, but I made 5, let's say, wrong decisions in a row, and then I basically got trapped in this loop where he just mocks me and makes fun of me and forces me to push buttons.
You see?
And that's what we're gonna
Can
do.
he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Oh, is the narrator a good guy or a bad guy? He seems like a bad guy. You know, let's not forget when he mocked me. Mara, happy birthday! Glad you picked a cheery game to celebrate. I will tell you, all I knew about the game with going into it is that it was a little fun and silly. It got dark quick. So thank you for the happy birthday. I appreciate you joining me. We're basically, I think we're about to restart, and let's see if I can make better decisions. So Renegade Puff wants to know, did I intentionally make wrong choices 5 times? Yes. I really genuinely tried to respond as me, Speak of the Joker, would respond in that situation, and I feel like my oppositional defiance took over, and so I just kept wanting to do the opposite of what he said. So do I deserve to be mocked? In this game's logic, I think the narrator would agree and say yes.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to.
We'll see.
But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley.
He's trying to tell
Not
me
so
that
different, I suppose.
everything I do is
I'll
meaningless,
try
and the
once
longer I
more
stay
to
here,
convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
my life is...
Perhaps.
I'm slowly
maybe
dying.
this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
I don't know if this is a commentary on
And
games.
I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Is it a comment on games, or is it
And
a comment on office culture? I think we're at the beginning again. Is it gonna be any different? Well, I'm definitely gonna make different decisions, but
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, so far exactly the same. This is like I just started the game for the first time, and the door's shut when I make decisions. See, there's like so much to this building. Are these places I can go and explore? I mean, they're literally not, because the doors are locked. Did that say awaiting input? I don't know. Who farted? The who farted mug. Oh, I don't know. I'm like freaking out. I feel like things are a little different. I mean, I don't want to be like deeply personally mocked again. That kind of hurt a little. Here we go.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
How can I pick the door on the left? Do you see the problem I'm having? Is this just me? Is this a personality trait? Is it a personality flaw? I feel like I'm compelled to pick the door on the right. Okay, I'm not going to do everything he says, but I'm going to do a couple things he says. I mean, he didn't say one thing way or the other. Because I did what he said, I guess. When I went the other way, he made excuses.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tips for
Feeling
not
a
getting
wave of
fired.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I have the perfect book. When I take a break, I'm going to grab it. But that's going to be like an hour. How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Are we doing restorative justice practices? We could have a circle. We could all come together. We could talk about how we feel. Using slides to assure that employees are okay. Everyone is unique. You most of all. But the game is telling me over and over that I don't matter. I kind of want to read all this, but I also want to see what happens next. Stripes. Requires more secondary research. What is hot? Profits, profits, profits. Again, is this a commentary on office culture? Business culture? Synergize, core values. I feel like if these were originally written, I believe, in 2013. I don't know everything they changed, but I think they added a few things, maybe like to the ends. It's Ultra Deluxe version. But if these were today, we'd have like systems change and I know a bunch of other business words that would fit perfectly there. And door shut. You can open the broom closet. This is the first door I opened. Did it tell me to go this way? It didn't tell me to go this way. Sorry, I heard a click and it kind of freaked me out.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Really? I feel like I want to grab at least one of these tools or something.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Okay,
no reason to still be here.
Okay, Mr. Narrator, although I have learned I don't really want to upset him. Okay, well, I'm going to shut the door. You know what? I'm going to leave it open. Like a wild person. I'm still making choices.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Did he, though? Is there something enticing down there? I mean, it's red. All right. We're gonna go against the narrator just real quick. Just real quick. It can't be that bad. Oh. You check under the stairs for loot? Sorry, that's a different game. That's every other game. I don't want to go through this door. Now I'm scared. All right, we're doing it.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Yep.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Yeah.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
These are all thoughts I've
Stanley
had.
said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Oh.
He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Whoa! Okay.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun.
This is
and
very
Stanley
different.
marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
That's the most normal part about
Now
this.
the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke
All right, I'm
to
gonna keep
all
moving,
people
boy.
in
He's
their
talking a
dreams,
lot.
the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
This is so
the
weird.
fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my
I didn't get
job.
another dead end?
All I want is
Boy, they're
my
easy to
life
get.
exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
This would be like a decent meditation if you were having a lot of anxiety, if not inside this game that's like actively mocking you.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
This is way more stressful than I thought. So far, I haven't seen anything
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
I saw before.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind.
If I am dead on the street, then that means
I
I'm
know
real.
what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay, I mean, if Stanley is dead, then Stanley is real. Well, shoot! I mean, we listened to like 5 instructions in a row. We made one different choice. The narrator said, like, oh, I don't want to face my boss, and then just went off totally crazy and apparently killed us. So far we have been mocked endlessly about our nothingness that is existence. Very nihilist.
All
Too
of his
real.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And now, and then we're just crazy and killed in the street. We went crazy and ran. Okay. This game is way more stressful than I
When
thought.
Stanley
Here
came
we
to
are
a set
again.
of 2 open
What
doors,
do I do now?
he entered the door on his left.
I did the left last time, and I made one different decision later. We're going right. Here's why. Because we're going to see that blue room, and I like the color
This
of
was
it.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
And we can get to
well.
the meeting room anyways.
Perhaps he
this
wanted
way.
to stop by the employee lounge first,
See?
just to admire it.
Swing by the lounge. Here we go. Look how nice
Wow.
it is.
Yes.
Look at the
this
colors.
room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room.
Yeah.
Thank
It is a
goodness
gorgeous
Stanley
room.
had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Yeah.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Well, we know what happens if I go straight. It doesn't end well. So...
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I feel like this is going to go to the garage where we just were, and things didn't go that well there. Oh boy, I want to go down, but we're not going to. We're going to listen. Just for a little bit. Yeah, we've been in here. Nobody's in here.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
We've seen this room.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go
If there's
up to
anything
his
else
boss's
here.
office,
Not
hoping he
cost
might find
efficient.
an answer there.
They could have gone to, like, half the businesses and just taken photos. They barely even had to, like, mock anything. This is just too real. Group planning. Does this give me a hint? Is this secretly a puzzle game? Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. Now that's hilarious that there's a whiteboard manager. Oh man, this game is stressing me out. I turned my lights down in case you're wondering what happened there with the lighting. Oh, Bobby Bad News with a happy birthday. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Audrey says happy birthday as well. Thank you, Audrey. We are suffering through this game. I thought it was a little more silly. But that's what happens when you don't look in advance of games. We know what's in the broom closet. Nothing's in the broom closet. I don't even want to go in the broom closet now because it feels like a false choice. We know what's
Coming to a
downstairs. I
staircase,
have to go
Stanley
upstairs.
walked upstairs to his boss's office.
He won't be there. Nobody's here. This game is so stressful. Oh, this is nice. I like the colors. Or do I? Executive bathroom. I mean, it's on the executive suite. I don't know that you need to call it that, but whatever. I don't know. Oh. We have some... Turn away, little ones, from the imagery on this wall. That's interesting. Business strategy. Okay, now I'm starting to feel like this game is less mocking the video game culture and more mocking business culture. Shapes. Cool. Monthly. Oh, good thing I'm not wearing a red tie. That would have been weird. I am the most expensive boss. That's what that says? That's interesting. Interesting in a very strange way. This is a very weird place. The beige pages. Saw meets turning red. You know, this... So far, there have been no violent acts, yet I feel like I have...
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to
Feel
discover
like I'm
not
being
an
terrorized.
indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held
A lot of
from him?
books.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
Oh.
2845.
How do I know that?
But of course,
Or-
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Can't possibly have known this. Oh, man. You know what's really bad is I've actually forgot the number because I was not paying attention. I don't know anything about wines. Or
Stanley just sat
alcohol.
around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Okay, so the game's gonna tell us. All right, I'm not ready for that yet. Oh, there were
2845.
3 people in here. Bobby Bad News in the chat. 2845. Thank you very much. Let's answer this phone first. It will not let me. This paper say. All right, let's do it. You know.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself.
Oh, I
and
missed
Stanley
it.
got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
That's actually pretty funny. The game wasn't going to let me stop there, which is weird because it seems content with me stopping in other places. But that's okay. So what? Oh, this giant panel slid aside. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like any of this. This game is making me way more uncomfortable than I thought. We might have to undo another button, like real haggard. Like, you know, this. I'm trying to reflect my sense of comfort in my clothing. I started with the jacket. Just in case you're wondering, High Gamma Gamer here. I turned the brightness all the way up. So if this looks dark, just really imagine how dark it would have been. They said, you know, it was one of those little sliders, and I was like, all the way to the right.
Descending
Always.
deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he
Really?
feel this now?
But I got here by
when for
listening to
years
the
It
narrator.
had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long.
What? Okay, that scared me. This is why I don't play horror games. I guess this means I can't go back up. I can't go back up.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up.
Whoops.
Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
I mean, that would be a little more fun if this narrator wasn't such a jerk the first time my first playthrough I made different decisions, and he was really mean to me. So now I don't even feel like laughing at his jokes. Yeah, I mean, there is nothing up here, so I mean, wait, what? Can I? Did I break the game again? I mean, not really break the game. It's telling me to do these things.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated.
Okay.
It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have. An incisive rapid fire of critical plot
But he's
points,
being really
one
mean
after
again.
the other, weaving a rich tapestry of
Okay, fine.
uncompromising
Let me use the
narrative.
elevator again.
Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Okay, alright. Fine. Just let me use the elevator again. Okay, I can use the elevator after a little bit of mocking and scolding.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator
Sorry,
and
that's a
going
little,
down
that's a
again.
little too much skin
Ladies
showing.
and
It's
gentlemen,
not that kind of
how
stream.
does he keep coming up with all of this?
Here, we'll undo the... This is when it gets real, you know. Right here. We'll do the old roll up. This is how you know stuff's getting real. The old roll up here. Let's do this.
Surely this time Stanley
It
will walk
scared me
forward into
again.
the spooky corridor, won't he?
Yeah, it is spooky. Don't make fun of me, game.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Did I? Did I really? Would I? Okay, come on. This is too reminiscent of Portal. Now in Portal, you were rewarded for following the thing that says escape, and in this game, I don't think you are. I'm gonna check something real quick. I submitted an emote. It is still not ready. Okay. They say 24 to 48 hours, which, as far as I can tell, which means 1 minute, because some are approved instantly, to never. I almost want to do a poll. Let me take this second to just let everybody know I am running closed captioning. It's a little CC you see down here, right about here, depending on your size. You can actually turn on closed captioning. They are auto-generated, but still a cool new feature. And hopefully that increases accessibility for some people. So there you go. Closed captioning. Yeah, this is me stalling. Like, I really... Everything in my being says go towards escape, but I feel like the way this game handles that is to punish you with, you know, mocking that, you know, maybe I'm not ready for right now. or to basically force you to reset. We're going. This is me. I would go to the place escape. This is how I grew
Although
up.
this passageway
This is
had
who
the
I
word
am.
escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
And here we go. I'm still gonna do it. I've made the decision. I can't trust the narrator. He is a classical unreliable narrator. But I also don't
The door
necessarily think
behind
that
him
he's
was
wrong.
not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Ooh, the door is not shut. So we are full committing. Okay, I want to see if he says anything about me walking back, but I'm not walking back. Is he going to say anything? He's probably not going to say anything until I cross that door, but I was curious. Horror game. Yeah, Cosmic Wed, welcome to the show. I didn't think it was a horror game. I thought it was more like a fun, silly puzzle game with like a light-hearted sense of humor. So far, it's been very dark. And, you know, I wanted a little break, you know, to celebrate my birthday. And this game has been... It's been a little rough. They're mocking me about...
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
They're willing to mock me. They're willing to point out that I'll push whatever button they tell me to push. It'll tell me I'm in a dream, but then show me dead on a sidewalk. This has essentially... This is a horror game sold as a quirky puzzle game. I don't even know, because I watched, in 2013, I watched 30 minutes. I thought I understood a little bit about this game, but apparently I did not. A dark comedy, that might be the way to put it. I mean, yeah, Renegade Puff said it. We're full committing. I saw a sign that said escape. I'm going escape. And I hit the wrong button. Okay, it's happening. Oh.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
Oh,
he
they couldn't even
reflected
make
that his
it
life
quick.
had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story.
Trapped
forever in his
in
narrow vision of what
the
this
world
world
is.
is. Perhaps his death was of no great
Wow.
loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
They couldn't just the screen go black. No, they have to mock you, and you have to be here.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as
What?
Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Okay, as I walk forward, just in case you're wondering, I am actively walking forward. It's revealing more and more. So I guess if this room was lit up, it would be all at an angle. Ah, boy. Okay. Yeah, this I don't know. This game is intense.
When every path you can
Ooh.
walk has been created for you long in advance, death
I
becomes meaningless,
really like the look of
making
this.
life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Wow. This game has some definite philosophical undertones. I mean, they're not trying to hide it. Nature paintings. These are some of the paintings from the game. The office. Here's the office layout. It's called office layout. That's funny. I didn't see that sign. Again, business commentary on business culture or commentary on game culture? Or all of the above. These are assets, like, from the game. Right? Or is this commentary on life? It is like the very popular, very well received Will Ferrell movie Stranger Than Fiction. It is very much like that. If somebody wants to Google it, I believe this game originally came out in 2013. I don't know if it was before or after that. I guess that would have been after. I don't know. It's my birthday. I'm officially in the forgetful stage of my life. So, how would I know? I think these are the real credits. I think these are really people involved in the game. So, left or right? There's we're going right. I don't know. Yep. Scenes from the game. Is there anything in here? This is the end. Oh yeah, see, I went escape. Underground, an early vision of the underground portion of the game. 2006. That was way before this game then. Okay.
Stanley
Narrator
pushed
outtakes.
the orange lever.
What?
Nothing there. Shoot. Well, try the other one then. Where were all of his co-workers? Oh, I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible to you? Stanley pushed the number 6.
What's that?
When Stanley came to the lift, he travelled upward to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever. Stanley stood on the snow. Stanley stood
Traveled upward towards the power source to end this injustice forever. I wish I remembered more from my philosophy classes in college, because obviously there's the nihilism, but it's really more than that. Okay, is this what it was just telling us in the outtake? I traveled up and to the power source. Can I use this? With freedom above and countdown below. We abandon it. We abandon it when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and place the two endings together instead. Oh, this game is, I think, maybe too clever for me. I think that's the issue. I mean, at least they're not mocking me anymore. They were originally part of... Oh, I think that was a little controller drift. That's unfortunate. The level in there would describe what color they had pulled. Okay, that's fun. I wonder if these are like real things. The game is now paused. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending. We had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this. It was frustrating for everybody. Is that now? I think that's now. This is just this. Okay, who thought something was gonna happen? Give you 15 seconds to pick up stuff. Wow. Okay. This might not end. There might not be any way to end. I might have to restart. All right, I'm gonna look around and then we're gonna restart. And the way that said escape ultimately is a trap, right? This is everywhere. We've been everywhere in here because we originally went right and we came back left. Let's just make sure. Let's make sure we went everywhere. Boy, this game. Ah. Pushing buttons. Well, I guess we should go to the mind control facility. Oh, wait, exit? How did I not see this? I just walked right by something called exit. Well, now we know this must be the exit because we went everywhere else. Oh.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Like, the narrator and Stanley? Or Stanley and the player? My mind is reeling. Because it's my birthday, I was thinking of talking about things like the flat earth, which is hilarious. I love science, so I love watching videos on flat earth. If there's any flat earthers in the chat, sorry. Not personal. You're just wrong.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
What?
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
What? What? Is it really telling? Do I do this? Do I do this?
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
Oh no! Oh man, I want to go back to playing Lego Star Wars. There's almost no choices. You just blow everything up and then you collect the little bricks. Oh, excuse me, I've got a little nose situation. We're just gonna take 2 seconds. Okay, we're back. I've got a button for that now. I just push a button and the camera turns on and off. It's very exciting. That's a big deal to me. We're going to resume the game, and we are committed to the ending that we chose long ago. That sound didn't sound so great. Oh, man. What was the last thing she said? As long as you keep playing, you're committed to somebody else's choices. I mean, I think that is just this game. That is just the reality of it. Okay. I mean, it's easy to speedrun it.
Were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I wonder if they've timed it out so that you can't cut him off.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I feel like the one thing I will
Yet
say...
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
All right, that was the first time. I feel like this game is evoking some emotions. So if that's its goal, then good job. Okay, hold on. I got some new sunglasses. And I want to wear them. I don't know, because I'm silly. It's my birthday. To be rich Is it is it a crime to commit crimes? Isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. There you go. I didn't go in the bathroom last time. Extreme bathrooms. When you hear like what like insanely rich people spend their money on, this would not be that crazy. But I really like the wallpaper. I mean, there's something gross about wallpaper in a bathroom, you know, just with how bathrooms work. But other than that, I really like the color and I really like the pattern. You wouldn't be able to see this in my tie, but my tie has kind of a similar kind of paisley pattern, but it's a black tie, so you can't see it unless you're right upon it. Valor in the chat. Hello, good day, sir. VIP, Valor. First subscriber, Valor. I'll never forget that. That's a lot of fun. We're playing through the Stanley Parable, and this game, for a game with one button, is sure beating me up. It's a little bit of a mind twisty thing.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Hey, the narrator finally responded.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Oh, look what we did. I hope this doesn't give me a copyright strike or something. You never know with games. You never know.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Respond to your question, though. How was your day going? You know, the day is much better now that I'm here streaming with you all and celebrating my birthday. Officially becoming an old man, the big 40. I realize some of you are older than me, so maybe that sounds like an insult, but you know, many people have told me you're only old as you feel, and so I feel older. Work was a bit of a doozy today. I won't get into the details, but very happy to be here with you. Let's... I mean, this time, just so you know, Valier, I know you just joined, and happy to have you here. We chose escape last time, and escape was not an escape.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
In a way it was, and in a way it wasn't. It's a series of choices that all end in the same place, but so far this game has been a series of choices that have all ended in the same place. So let us head into that mind control facility and see what we're missing. Or maybe we're not missing anything. I don't know. I don't know. A bit of a lag there. That was weird. Skip. So that says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Okay, well, I mean, we gotta push the button, right? We don't have a choice.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
2013.
Did he have the strength
This
to
would be a
find
very
out?
expensive room. I mean, it's a mind control facility, so we know we have a decent idea of what this is. But this was behind our boss's office. Can I push it again, or was that, did I already accomplish what this button does? Okay. I mean, I haven't been in here yet. I just kind of feel like I feel like I'm beaten down from the rest of the game, that I know where this is going to end. I'll just do what it says, and then none of it'll matter. We're gonna take a little sip though. Also, while I'm stalling the next part of this game, let me point out right below the chat here. No, well, I guess it depends where you're at. But anyways, right below the chat, we have channel points now, wild cards. Feel free to click on that. You earn them by watching and clicking the little box. and spend them. Spend them on stuff. If you want. It's free. Wanted to have all the free interactions I can on Twitch, because that's fun. Okay, so there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can push other than the one button, and this is a game about forcing you to push buttons. Oh, I hate Mondays. Oh, that's a classic. It looks like Professor Zek's Cerebro. Very much so. Very much so. And I kind of feel like...
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh, wrong button. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. I wanted to redeem your your thing. Bobby, bad news. Redeemed. I'm first. Complete that action. You are the first. One and only person can redeem per stream. Okay, so there's Stanley, 427, right? Oh, and today is April 27th. Oh, of course. That's why they released. That's why they released the game today. Okay. I feel like an idiot. Okay. Cosmic Web. How low tech though? Yes. Literally like hundreds of individual cameras on people's desks. Very low tech. So 391 and 459 has a green glowing box. I mean, it looks like radioactive. Did they just reuse assets, I'm guessing? Or no, because they wouldn't. Well, maybe. Fired. Okay, and the camera doesn't change. Or no, it does change. So there's no answer to why all the employees are gone. But really, in a way, it doesn't actually matter because I'm not sure anything is even real. There's one screen up there, obviously. I mean, not obviously, but it's obvious that it stands out, right? Under 233, so that would be 234. We'll just guess. Seems to be working, but it doesn't show the number. I don't know why. So, we don't know why anything is what it is, or isn't what it isn't. Let us continue. There is not much more to do than to continue. What does that do? I guess it's the elevator. Sometimes buttons, make sense.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Oh yeah, this is the
Had
high-tech
Stanley
portion.
really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
I mean, if you're happy with a boring job, then maybe you're still happy? I don't know. Now that's a philosophical debate that's been around for thousands of years. So that one I've heard of.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
I could accept it.
Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
The narrator's like more forgiving of me when I just do what he says. Isn't that strange? I mean, we're just a tad bit over an hour in, and I feel like I've done everything.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content.
Maybe there's
walking,
more to this section.
Eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
Offline.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I mean, it's all very inspirational, but I'm just literally doing what it's telling me to do, and every time I've done something different, it's punished me. So, am I being mind controlled by just following it? I've done everything it's asked me to do. And here we are, wrapped in this story of Stanley's the good guy stopping the mind control. But I'm doing what it's telling me to do. I also might be way overthinking this game. All right, there's 3. There's 1 and 2 over there. I have no idea what those things mean. But we're going to push them. And, I don't know. We're going to push them in order? Ooh. Does that matter? Doesn't seem to. It's giving me the, like, Star Trek invalid command sound. Like, oh, nope. That's not it. Sounded different. There's 5. Oh, is 4 over here? I don't know. I'm kind of stressing out now that it's being nicer to me. I know that doesn't make any sense. It's off right now. Is that why I woke up, though? What does that say down there? Something link control. I don't know.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Is this a choice? I mean, it's already off, so I don't understand. All right. We're gonna turn off the mind control. Allegedly. Oh. Speed.
Blackness.
Oh, thank you.
And a rising chill of uncertainty.
I thought you were talking about the game. Talking about
Was
my
it
hair.
over?
I need just another couple days.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine.
You obeyed the command
Unshackled
and
himself
disabled
from
the mind
someone
control,
else's
right?
command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Welcome to the show, Blue Hobbit.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand,
thank you.
but to let
Happy
go.
birthday.
No longer would anyone
I do
tell
have
him
an
where to
excellent
go,
barber, in case
what
you're
to
wondering.
do, or how to feel.
The hard part about my hair is it's so
Whatever
thick,
life he lives,
getting
it
it
will
under
be
control at all
his.
is basically
And
impossible.
that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I mean, the game is telling me. The game is outright telling me, this is the good ending. Oh yeah, there's all this stuff you still don't know, but this is the good ending. But I don't remember the last time I really even had a choice to make, other than turning off that, like turning on the mind control, or off the mind control. And now that I know the game, I can get there pretty quickly. It'll take me less than a minute, but, yeah. I don't know. I mean, we have to do it, right?
Stanley felt
this
the
is the
cool
follow
breeze
everything
upon
he
his
said
skin,
run, basically.
The
Kind of
feeling of
unintentionally.
liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Was Stanley happy, though? Was Stanley happy? Beat the game. Get your first achievement. That's over here. Okay, hold on. Let me grab this. Okay. Alright. The game is telling me we're gonna reset. What do we do differently? Is it just in that mind control room? We don't know what happened to our coworkers. We don't... I mean, we kind of don't know anything. All we know is we, being Stanley, we thought that we were being controlled, but it said the mind control was off. So were we being controlled? Yeah, right. Obeying the narrator. Oh, Valor. Sorry. I thought you were commenting. Valor's banning an in-game action. Obeying the narrator. Okay, we're gonna do a non-obeying run. Something tells me it's not gonna last very long. But because Stanley is happy, at least that was the last ending we had. I say ending because clearly this game is not over. Also, I will, while I put my tie back on, I do want to just mention that this is the Ultra Deluxe. I don't know specifically what the difference is, but I do know that they added some stuff and changed some things. Yeah. Valor has earned 500 channel points, which means you've probably been watching for at least 2 hours. Although I did have quite the run on ready to go. All right. Stanley is happy. He's back in his tie. We're ready to go. I did have quite the little run on Fall Guys the other weekend, and I did have some people betting for my success, and they won a bunch of points. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to do with the points, but it's fun. It's fun. If you have things, I think banning the in-game action is the most fun and the best use of the points. So we are going to our best. I mean, some things we might not have any control over, but we're going to do our best to ignore the narrator.
All of his co-workers
And we're going to do
were
a
gone.
little bit of a speed
what
run.
What did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
So go to the
simply missed
meeting
a
room.
memo.
So don't go to the meeting room. Disobey number 1. Okay. So these are tunnels. We don't have any choices.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
And
this
door
was
on the
not
right.
the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
We've done some
well.
of this.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay, we don't have a choice. We do have to walk through
The
the
lounge was sublime.
But we're
a
not
work of
going to
art.
admire it.
What was it about this room that called? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
First open door is left? Absolutely not. We go straight. Okay.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Get fired. Well, not quite. So, unfortunately, there are not a lot of choices at this stage. Okay, Valor.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Here we go.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Welcome to the show, Evo. We're dressed up as the character, Stanley. He works in an office. And Stanley is happy at this point.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Okay, Valor, I think... We'll see. I think I know what's going to happen. So we can't disobey him. Well, we can, but I think we just get to a dead end. And so we're going to find out.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith
Stanley
in
is
another...
like Neo if he works in
then
an
pick up
Amazon
the
fulfillment
phone.
center. Hydrate. Here we go. That doesn't count. Here we have over here. So hydrated. Today we are drinking from our Mr. Rogers mug. Nice little quotes. We're not answering the phone. Valor redeemed the channel points to ban in-game action. Hello, words. We're going to switch over to this screen, and we're going to redeem that hydrate. And actually, I am running a little low. So we're going to refill. Okay, Valor, I think this is the problem, is I think we're stuck here forever. Oh, yeah. Little refill. It's like a ghost cup. It's like a teal color. I don't drink from it on stream very often for that reason. Can you unplug the phone? Why am I an idiot? I think that's an
As
excellent
Stanley
suggestion.
picked up the phone, a white light
was just gonna
engulfed
sit
him,
there forever.
filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait.
Nice job.
Oh, goodness.
Well, what?
Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually
a smarter person than
chose
me in chat.
incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife.
Yeah.
And the two pledge themselves to one another.
No.
Music comes in.
That's not what
fade to
happens.
white,
I answered
roll
the phone
credits.
before.
Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Huh?
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world.
Okay.
Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Well, this is new.
Choice.
Choice.
It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, it can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back.
Wow.
You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making,
Now it's
we're
down to
going to
business.
revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Okay, well, he said this way, please. So not listening would be staying in here, but I feel like I can't progress if I stay in here. Now do I answer the phone? Can't. Do I plug the phone back in? Can't. Okay, I think I have to listen to him. I mean, I was wrong before. I didn't miss the obvious plug. Which, that's not even how phones are plugged in, so I really should have noticed that. I was really thinking about hydrating, though. All right, we are technically listening to the narrator. I think he asked here. Right, Alan, you're too smart. You're right. He didn't tell me. He didn't assume. He said, "Will you please?" I gotta pay attention. This is why I don't play puzzle games. Oh, this is where I was before. Yeah. Okay. smashing the button everywhere I go. It's just flat assets. Lucky assets.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no
Can't
sense
have
at
it?
all. We
Does
just
that
need to get
mean
you
we
home as soon as
can have
possible
it?
before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
We can't have it? Oh, look, they added railing. This wasn't here before. I was thinking because it just seemed like a huge OSHA violation. We can't have it. There I am, unable to jump off. He didn't tell me not to jump off. He just said we can't have it. But either way, I don't seem to be capable of it. Suspicious. So this right here, I think, was the door I was supposed to be going in. Where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. He's not telling me anything.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Okay. He's clearly telling me that I need to go all the way back here.
Now remember,
the door
all you need to do is
on the
behave
left.
exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Psych! Ooh!
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Okay. Whoa, that's cool. Look how warped everything is. Oh, there's nothing I can do here. This is fun. Like, this is a completely unloaded area is what they're trying to tell us, I'm guessing. Alright. And close the door. Oh, I think that's it. I think we have come to an end. With our disobedience. I think you can only disobey for so long. But we had a heck of a run. Fully disobeying and unplugging the phone was a better ending than my very first playthrough. I disobeyed everything too, but I answered the phone, and then he mocked us for like 15 minutes, and it kind of cut a little deep. All right, we're gonna try to disobey his next choice. Oh, he didn't even say anything about me taking this door. Huh.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do?
If he shuts the game down, that means I won.
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
Do it.
I have to.
Do it. That means I won. You gave up, not me. Oh, we beat the narrator. Oh, or did we?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to.
I'm Justine. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the show. We're breaking this game, and I think that's the point.
He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
All right. Now the game is in disarray.
Story.
Be more in disarray.
If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make
it what?
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No! Again! We will do everything
Why did you
wrong.
do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first.
Glad to have you
I'm quite
here.
sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I like doing the fake out. I feel like the narrator is, well, first of all, he's not a real person. But I want to defy.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would.
Did that happen
means
faster?
Choosing responsibly and always putting the story
Evo.
first. I'm quite
Happy
sure
birthday
you'll be
to
up to
me.
the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
5 subs.
All right.
I need to record a special sound effect.
When Stanley came to
I'll
a
do it
set
live.
of 2 open...
Happy birthday. Thank you very much, Evo. And congratulations to those of you who just got... Oh, you take them back now? You can't. Twitch doesn't allow you. I learned that the hard way. You love my sound effects. You love them. You compliment me endlessly about them. I mean, like, in your head. You hit the wrong button. There's no way to give it back. I think maybe I can refund donations, but I don't even have that set up. So yeah, sorry. No way to take it back. King Doc, I don't think you're actually here right now, but he's the one who actually designed all the art. So that's so great that he got one of those gift subs. So thank you very much. Those of you now have access to my emotes, 2 of which are under review. I don't know. This is what Twitch gives you. You get emotes. And they take forever to approve them, but you can now use those anywhere you'd like. I was going to show you that coffee cup that's in the picture, but it's out. It's being cleaned. It's out at the dry cleaners. Okay. We're going to get back to this. How many times can we defy the narrator before we're in a loop? Maybe we're already in a loop. Maybe the next 10 times are the same as the first 3. We're going to find out.
He entered the door.
It doesn't take too long to defy him, so I'm going to go a little slower this time and see if it resets when
Why did you do that?
To a certain spot.
Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley
I feel
would.
like
That means
it's getting shorter each time.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means
Okay. It is getting shorter now. It's
Behave exactly as
okay.
Stanley would.
I figured it out right before the game was just going to outright tell me.
Behave exactly as Stanley would.
It's just restarting.
That means
I'm not doing anything right now.
behave exactly as Stanley would. That means
Okay, I'm gonna immediately run forward and see if I can
behave
get to the
exactly
door.
as Stanley would.
Oh,
That
well.
means
I hit the door.
behave exactly as Stanley would.
It's
That
freaking
means
out.
behave exactly as Stanley would. That means
I think this is game over.
That means
Did I do it?
behave exactly
I broke
as
the
Stanley
game.
would. That means
I noticed though that I didn't
behave
get an
exactly as Stanley
achievement
would. That means
where I did when I did the story all the way through.
behave exactly as Stanley would.
I don't know if it's a
That
bummer,
means
I'm Justine.
behave exactly as Stanley
This
would.
is
That means
he's no longer telling you to go left. That's true, but he
behave
will.
exactly as Stanley would.
Oh no.
That means
You're right, Valor. You're right.
behave
see
exactly
what
as
happens.
Stanley would. That means
Oh.
behave
Oh,
exactly
King
as
Doc,
Stanley
you are here.
would.
Thank
That
you. Happy
means
birthday. You just got a gift sub from
behave
Evo.
exactly as Stanley would. That means
Evo in the chat. Evo on Friday playing a little
behave exactly as Stanley would.
Dead by Daylight.
That means
I keep forgetting that game. What it's called.
behave exactly as Stanley would.
So yeah,
That
I
means
full on broke the game. I'm actually doing what it wants me to do, and
behave
it is still
exactly
not
as
working.
Stanley would. That means
The game is broken.
behave
Then.
exactly as
You're gonna kill the crud out of me. Yes, I've never played that game, and it looks very scary, and I'm freaking out. I think we have no choice. That was the disobey the narrator run. We didn't get an achievement though. I'm so bummed out. But that must have reset 20, 25 times, and we even went through the left, and it still didn't work. So we're gonna reset. Okay. Begin the game again. Oh god, I don't want to hit it, but I think we are. Okay, this time, here's my plan.
all
We're
of
gonna
his
power
co-workers
through.
were gone.
We're
What could
going
it
to
mean?
get to the
Stanley decided to go to the
ending.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
which is following the story, which is when you. It's kind of a
When
weird.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
It's weird how this
he
game
entered
works.
the door on
You
his
listen to
left.
the narrator, and everything goes well, and Stanley is
Yet
happy.
there was
and you
not
have
a
this
single
great
person
ending.
here either.
I guess it's not weird.
Feeling
It's
a
like,
wave of
you know.
disbelief, Stanley
tell
decided
you
to go
something.
up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Although, if I type in the code too fast, then I have to listen to music, but that's okay.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by
Do
now.
every
Blah,
other
blah,
one.
blah. Dark
I don't
secrets,
think you
the
can,
keypad. Stanley
because
pushes
they
some
loop on
buttons.
each other.
Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
But oh, this is new. I'm sorry, I was too busy reading and I didn't realize this was new. He said blah 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 passageway. So I didn't even type in the code. So this is different already. Okay. Here's my plan. We go to the mind control, and we. Oh, this is me. This is me losing my mind slowly. This little spark scares me, so I don't know how I'm gonna play a horror game. Right there, that got me.
Stanley walked straight ahead through
We-
the large door that read
We're gonna hit the
Mind
other
Control
button at the end.
Facility.
I don't know. Because right now, from this point forward, there are no
The
choices
lights rose
until
on
the
an
end.
enormous room packed with television
just pushed-
screens.
you just pushed
What
a single
horrible
button.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
And it's trying to sell it like I don't know. It's hard
Now
to even
the
talk
monitors
about this
jumped to
game
life.
because it's
Their
like
true
so
nature
clearly
revealed.
messing with me
Each
that I
bore
feel like
the
anything
number
I
of an
say,
employee in the building.
I'm just
Stanley's co-workers.
buying into it.
The lives of so many individuals reduced
Mm-hmm.
to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of
hands
them,
oily.
eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay. Stanley ended the last one
This
as
mind
the good
control
guy.
facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
You have to
Had
redeem your
Stanley
channel
really
points,
been under someone's
cosmic
control
web,
all this time?
make it happen.
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Oh.
No. He refused to
Yeah,
believe
Stanley's
it.
the
He
good guy.
couldn't
Stanley's the
accept it.
hero.
His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
pirate.
Wasn't it? Was it
those.
even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the
what's
proof.
this? Oh.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions.
Did I go down
Happy
here before?
Or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
remember actually going
And
down
as the
here
cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yeah. This game. So the only achievement I got is when I followed the narrator completely, and then I got an achievement. And in a lot of games like this, I've never played this game, but in a lot of games like this, you get an achievement at every possible ending. That 12 Minutes game was like that. Okay, so system, I did off last time, happy ending. Everybody cheered. We went out in the sun. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to become the architect.
Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Control?
Yes.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave.
We're going to turn the other machines
If you
on.
want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires.
2.
Oh, this is much better than what
Do
I had
we
in
push these
mind.
buttons?
What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is.
Is that a button?
More
Or is
time
that
to
a
talk
picture of a
about
button?
you, about me, where we're going.
That's a picture of
what
a
all
button.
this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
Yes.
A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink
there's a
into
code
the
I'm supposed to be paying
ground,
attention to?
swallowing everyone
Oh, shoot.
inside,
Oh, I'm too
or I
dumb
let
for
it
codes.
burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
I think it's just
But
messing
I'm
with me.
sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on
yes,
the
thank
clock.
you.
Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or
Yes.
what you're supposed to be doing right
Yes.
now? Or did you just
See,
assume
he's
when
making
you
fun
saw
of
that
me.
timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me.
Only had to push
Why would
4
you think
before,
that,
then
Stanley?
I know.
That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Oh, that's 3. Where's 5? I saw it before.
Stanley, you're in
there
for
it is.
quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or
yeah,
don't.
I
It's
will-
all the same to me, all a part of the joke.
I will cling
and believe
desperately.
me, I will
That's
be
me.
laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment
Vibrating.
we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what I was supposed to do or not do. Again, there's only one achievement that I've gotten so far. And here's what's confusing is this is the Ultra Deluxe version of the game. They supposedly added alternate endings and things like that, so I don't know if anything I did was new. I never played the original, or...
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it.
this is new.
Won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
Okay, I mean, that's new. So I'm like in the 400s, obviously. Is this some kind of code? Oh! Input received? Oh, did I just do something? Okay, I mean, that's different. Does anything else say awaiting input? Oh, I could turn that one off. Okay, I mean, something's different. We're changing the
No
state.
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, well, that's the same one as before. I couldn't... Oh, man. Input received. I mean, that feels like I did something. What could that possibly connect to, though? New content! I think I found the new content, gang. I think I found it.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh man, if I hadn't opened the door all the way, would I be able to get through there? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I mean this might be new content for everybody. That's the screen it shows when it gets game over, so that was a little confusing.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is new. This is new to everybody watching, too.
Okay,
Unless you
so
played this
far it's
morning.
an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
I like that the game is making fun of essentially what I just said.
Is it broken?
It knows.
What's going on here?
Oh.
Should we be moving somewhere? Or, oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
That's what I just said.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content,
Oh, I
Stanley.
was facing the wrong way. Which is actually one of my favorite real-life jokes to do, is to stand the wrong way in an elevator. Find it to be very funny. I used to travel a lot for work and for pleasure, and spent a lot of time in elevators, and I just thought that was hilarious. So there you go.
All right, let's see.
This is the birthday stream, so I'm gonna
The
throw
jump
in
circle?
weird bits of information like that. The jump circle. So there's no jump button, so that's interesting. Let's look around before we commit to the jump circle.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content.
Jumps remaining
There has to be
36.
something else, right?
There's a jump. How many jumps do we do? We can't jump outside of the circle. I want to get down to 0, but I don't want to get down to 0 yet. Okay.
Goodness. Another elevator.
Okay.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content.
It would take you a lot longer
Oh,
than
wait.
that.
There's more. Very good.
Yes. I'm
Yes.
facing the wrong
I
way
knew
again.
there had
Not
to
on
be
purpose,
something
but-
else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
I don't know what this means. So far, I am not impressed with the new content, which is what the narrator keeps joking about.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason
I will
other
tell you
than
they
to make
didn't
an
rush
easy
this.
dollar.
It got
And don't get me
delayed by
started
like a
on the
year and a
level
half,
of craftsmanship
so-
that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at
Who
the
knows what that
game's
means?
achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
All right,
It's my
it's
fault,
a little
Stanley.
too.
I
a
built
little
up too
too
much
on the nose.
anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
What is it really about?
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
Is that
What do you
it's really
say,
about?
friend?
Well, obviously not. Oh, or maybe I don't have a choice. This is not my normal office. This is the new content, my normal office. Oh, there's the hallway. Or not the hallway, but the original office. Okay. So we're still in new content land.
Stanley!
Okay, that's scary.
Come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
No. I mean, I do want to check out the vent. I want to check out everything, but...
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
You're a dork. I'm cool. Oh, okay. So this is the office. Like, if I go through this door, I think it's going to be a loop. Yeah, the narrator is cold as ice. Yeah, you should...
Never mind. You're not a dog.
Oh. Yeah, you should see when he was tearing me down about never being loved and that my life and my choices were meaningless. Coffee nut. Ugh. What happens if we stand? Oh, we can't stand. It is not that advanced of a game. Cosmic Web redeemed hug. Hold on. We gotta give you a hug. Here it is. Redeem. Boom. Emote. We like to share positivity and love. Here's my love pillow. Hug from me to you. We all get hugs all around. Evo, the narrator is your kind of guy. I can see that.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. Evo, when you get a minute, go back to the beginning of the stream or play the game yourself and see what happens when you don't listen to the narrator, but you do answer the phone. He will destroy you. And you know, if I wasn't live, I might have cried. I'm a sensitive guy. Okay. This is kind of cool. You're welcome for the hug, Cosmic Web.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Okay. I thought it was going somewhere kind of sweet. Is like, I've created a holodeck where I can relive experiences of my life. I just realized that one frame is off. Sorry. There we go. I know I mentioned this before, but the windowed version of this game is very strange, so it took me forever to get this set up right. So there we go. No more tiny black line at the bottom of the screen. So I thought he was going to say something kind of sweet about like his mind palace where he relives all his happy moments, but then he said the launch of the game. Of course he did. I mean, this seems like a nice place. I'd want to hang out here. There's nowhere to go. I'm on rails. Okay. This is the new content here, so...
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013,
that's the Steam page,
when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Now, just because they're saying all this doesn't necessarily make it clever. What is that? Lamp shading? You, like, draw attention to the problem, so then therefore it's not a problem? It might still be a problem. That's what made a movie like Deadpool so successful, is it rode that balance. So, let's see, game. You can't just make fun of games re-releasing pointless content. Okay. I kind of assume it won these things. The British Academy of Television Arts. Okay. Awarded to I don't know, but that's hilarious. All right, that's a funny joke. A globe. Weren't we just talking about flat Earth? Here's a globe. Yeah. All the stars are different on the southern hemisphere than they are the northern hemisphere. One of the ways you know you're on a globe. It's a different night sky. It rotates the other way, too. Only makes sense on a globe. Something to think about, flat earthers. It's impossible to get this achievement. Okay. I'm guessing that's an achievement from the first game. And I have no idea how you get it. Obviously, I never played it. Well, this is the same game. It just has this extra stuff. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if these are real awards. The developers are on Twitter, though. I told them I was going to play, and I think they liked my tweet. I don't know. No idea. I don't really know how Twitter works. Okay. Well, unfortunately, this bench that looks out.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all.
What?
It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
French Adele. Was it actually French Adele? I hope not, because I'll get copyright claims, but it sounded French. My knowledge of French comes from Star Trek The Next Generation. And Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Sometimes he'll say French things. Or they'll go to his home world or hometown in France. I don't know if that review was like from a real person, but if you were that person playing this game, that would be super cool. You're like, oh, Speaker the Joker said, I'd be like, whoa! That'd be really cool. I mean, it'd be really cool for one person. But that one person, it would be amazing. Memory zone maintenance? Okay, it's locked. So far, they keep making fun of how there's not any content in here, so... Person of the year. I think it's me. Me, Stanley, not me, Joker. What do we got here? Okay, this almost kind of confirms the only two characters from the first game is one of the end states of the game is you're found on the street by this woman, or that's you. You know what? Stanley's not wearing a tie. I put the tie back on, but it turns out that was a wrong choice. That was always the wrong choice. Stanley doesn't wear a tie. But he does hate Mondays. Okay, I mean, let's continue. I don't know what's happening here. Is that the French, like an allusion to the French flag? I'm obviously, I don't know a lot about France.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
Well, that was 9
It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
What? What is the point of this area other than to tell me there's no point of this area? Wait, didn't I come in from that way? Oh, the serious room. I don't think I've been there yet.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Ah, the 2 doors. That was fun. I look on the 2 doors with nostalgia. Oh, the door's open,
Wait,
as we thought it would be.
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Nope, different game.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years.
Okay, that's funny. So far, I've had a lot of very strong emotions and reactions to the game. So far with the DLC, I have not, or not DLC, the Ultra Deluxe version, which it then keeps reinforcing that that's how it's supposed to be. Like, oh, what a waste that we're doing this. So hopefully this next area is a little more interesting, because it has been the same joke over and over. Which it's a good joke. It's a good joke. Game designers don't need to make re-releases, and they're just greedy for money. It's a great joke. Not a super original thought, though. So let's see.
I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Anytime a door opens on its own, it freaks me out. I mean, a Steam joke is pretty funny. Did buy this on Steam. Uh-oh.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny!
Is that a real person?
I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
That's kind of what I was saying about the game. This feels a little bit like Half-Life 2. In a good way, maybe. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of levels there. They obviously didn't say Steam reviews all over them. I keep hitting buttons to, like, run. There is no run button. The main game doesn't have a lot of space. Okay. Ah, here we go.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While
3
the
hours.
idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh, dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
He didn't read the end.
Like a failure. Like I let these people down.
It's thought-provoking
Perhaps
only
the Stanley
for the first few
Parable
minutes.
isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Interesting. So far, this feels like an exercise for the developers to, like, I don't know, like, work through some of their stronger feelings about the world of making video games and how they're received. I am not a video game developer. I do make things, though. And sometimes they are not received well, so I empathize, but I don't know if that makes it a game. I don't know. I'm feeling very odd about this section.
What's this one got to say?
Oh,
You
spinning
constantly
around.
have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Do you make paper
skip
snowflakes?
button.
I don't.
Well,
I don't, but I do make training
Yes, I think we
materials.
can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
And PowerPoints.
Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record.
And work
Only
plans.
positive reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Oh.
That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
I wish you made some good content. Oh, Evo. Never change. Never change. I will tell you, the best content ever, though. Saturdays with my Lego Star Wars game. I'm telling you. I'm loving that game. Come back for Saturday and play some Lego Star Wars with me. My first Lego game ever. I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan. I haven't even watched all of the movies.
And here it
I
is.
think it's fun.
Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's
Okay,
what the
now that
players
is
have
funny.
been asking for,
The
and I'm
skip
very
button?
proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley
he's
Parable
rambling on
is
and
a
on.
game for the people.
It's
And
not
if the
letting me
people
pause
want
it.
silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get.
It's still going. That was hilarious. It didn't let me pause it. I think they did that on purpose. I feel like they did it on purpose. That's the most clever thing so far about the Ultra Deluxe Edition. But what I was going to say was, I thought after the third time through, you didn't hear it? Ooh. After the third time through, yeah, oh boy, a skip button would be helpful because I want to experience the same choice. But then I thought that kind of defeats the purpose. So it's funny that they did bring that up. This is the thing that it was saying when I was in the pause menu.
Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something
So
like
in the
this.
normal game, it's like
The
11,
story
20
and
or
the
whatever,
choices,
and now
or
it's...
what have you, and therefore
later.
by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably,
Well, obviously it
or
wants me
until
to
the
skip.
end of time,
Let's look
at
around
which
first.
time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah.
So far in the Ultra Deluxe, we'll call it expansion or new content area. The narrator is much more sympathetic.
That the logic of elimination working
like
backwards,
he's a person
the
that I'm
deduction
interacting
therefore
with
becomes
versus a
impossible
person
to
who's
manufacture.
controlling
It
me.
went on for nearly 10.
Oh, you're back, you see? You were only
only went ahead
frozen in
like 5
time
minutes.
for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
I get the joke.
Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think.
We're gonna have to push the
So
button
my
again.
theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of
I mean, part of
choices
me
made
wants
by
to
the
sit here for
person
an
who
hour
you
and just see what
are,
happens,
or
but-
were, or will be at the time of having made said
I
choice.
don't really want to do that.
That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start
like
to
10
go off on a
minutes that time.
thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how
I
Steam
don't know if you can
works.
change your review either.
Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button.
He's doing it again.
Although I have to imagine that
How many times is he going to do
Okay,
this?
welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Yeah, that one was like
last
50
one was,
minutes.
Well,
So it was like
I want
5,
to say maybe
then
30,
20, then
45
50.
minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate,
Oh, the door's
I
gone.
do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to
There's
it.
no way
and
out of this room now.
Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
Oh.
Wasn't there a door that led into
Yes.
this room?
Yes, there was.
I don't
already
feel
figured that
quite
out.
certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the
Oh,
room
boy.
in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort.
Sometimes you have to
window
do a
or
joke
something like
so
that.
many
Do you
times
see
it
a window
becomes
anywhere?
unfunny,
A porthole?
and then it's refunny
A sufficiently
again. That's my
large
favorite
crack
kind
in
of
the
joke.
wall?
I do
I'll
those
take
all
any
the
of
time.
these. All I want is for us to move on and to please. Stanley, please don't
Yes,
push the
Steve-O.
button
Skip.
again. It's been
Skip.
12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Oh,
You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again.
12 hours
Stanley,
to what?
I
A week?
think it's been a week. Not 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time.
Oh.
Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking,
So we're
you
here.
saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all.
The
It isn't
plant
even
is
close.
dead.
Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing
All right.
that I needed to know that someone was listening.
He's only got a couple
I
seconds
needed
left.
there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters
Okay, he's
anymore.
actually talking
I'll
about
give
the
it all
game
up.
again.
I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear
This
me...
narrator's not a good guy.
then
He's trying to
maybe
be
it
sympathetic
means
here.
I'm real.
But
Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along?
no. Skip. You're a jerk, narrator. I'm still mad at you.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have
wonder how
had
long you
time
can
to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped
much
keeping
time?
track after a year.
Oh,
Have you
a
ever
year.
sat down
That's
in one
escalated
place and not
quickly.
moved
It's
for one
exponential.
entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is
what the
only
tree in my
regret.
backyard looks like.
There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the
Little
deepest
emergency
longing
light
to
up there
undo the
still
past.
Going.
And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less.
Oh.
You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a
Well, the time
space
does
without
stop between
consequence,
skips.
without action
And it
or
moves
outcome.
during
It was
skips.
divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome
Okay,
of
hold on.
events,
This is
not
about
if
the game
all
again.
events existed in the same moment. And I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a
Celebrating my
particular
birthday
outcome into
And
being.
the 5 gift
I
subs
saw
from
that I could
Evo.
allow myself to exist
With some
along
sparkling
all
cider.
timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness.
Okay,
the
yep, he is
equanimity.
boring me. Did the clock stop that time? Well, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's like years at a time. Goody two shoes. Goody two. Sparkling cider. Mmm. It is delicious. Oh, I spilled. That's alright. Okay, so now he's just quiet. Did the door come back? No. Oh. So if it was like 2 weeks and then it was like years, then this would be decades, right? It's been decades? Or has it been a century? I mean, it's escalating so much. What would be the point of skipping if he's not talking? Maybe I should have held out a little longer on the first one. Maybe he... Is the game trying to teach me now I miss him talking? The game doesn't realize that I'm capable of filling any silence for any amount of time with my own inane rambling that also requires a skip button. Yeah, I'm guessing that's a smoke detector. Could be some kind of, you know, what they call those lifetime batteries, which are 10 years. So one more skip and it definitely shouldn't work. It could be plugged into a power source, but all the lights, I guess the bulbs could have burned out. Like halogens, it only last a couple years. Let's find out. Find out. Oh. I guess the battery is finally dying. So much time has passed that the clock fell off the wall. Is that a thing? Wouldn't the clock only have fallen off if, like, something had moved? Oh. Yeah, I mean... I don't know why it's beeping. Maybe it's a carbon monoxide detector and I'm about done.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point.
Oh.
It was meant to speak to the human
And
condition.
it is dead.
But where are the jokes? Where are
There
the
you go.
jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that
Again,
seek
it
everything
really feels
and are
like this
accountable
is
to
the
nothing.
developers
We get a
working
world
through
where
some
someone will
strong
say,
feelings.
oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in
Gonna
the new
just give it
Stanley
another
Parable.
second.
We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so?
I will say, though, that this is a very important element in games. I think maybe what they're trying to get at, which is this idea of challenge. Oh, well, this is hard. Well, then just change it. Oh, well, this is hard. Then just change it. And there's I have a good night, Evo. Thanks for the gift subs again. That just knocking down every challenge is somehow makes the game better. But of course, we know intuitively that challenge is what makes the game fun. And that's why the Dark Souls games got so popular. I mean, that's such an easy example. It's also why I don't like those games. But I think this is what they're trying to get at. Like, oh, he needs a skip button. Like, that makes the game easy, but it kind of removes the point of the game, right? Or does it? I don't know. The normal game, we didn't even explore every possible option, but we did look at a lot of the possible endings. And then here we are in the expansion, the new content area. Hello, Grayley. Welcome to the chat. We're gonna keep going, and I think we just have to keep hitting this button over and over.
Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing.
Happy birthday.
Without
Yes,
entertainment,
thank
we
you.
would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a
and skip. I know you just joined, but essentially the game, we're in the new content of the game, and it is essentially so far mostly just complaining about both the absolute lack of necessity. I can't see a thing, by the way, but there's water droplets, so that's new. complaining about the lack of necessity for a expansion in the expansion, and then it went on to talk about the reviews, and now it's doing a lot of rambling to get us to hit that skip button. So at this point, we've skipped thousands of years, and the narrator has gone insane. There you go. You're all caught up. I'm guessing the water dripping based on the like entropy of this room. We're going to see the wall collapsing or something here any second. Maybe this click, maybe the next click.
The end is never 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 the end.
The narrator has completely lost his
end is never the end is never the end is never.
But at least now I feel less bad about it.
End is never the end.
So there's more water dropping.
Never the end is 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 never.
Ah, and it is now pouring. Okay, I was right. I thought it would be a little quicker, though. The way the game presented it is it went from, like, 2 weeks to years. Like, every time it was, like, an hour, and then it was, like, 2 weeks, and then it was, like, years, and then it's, like, theoretically, the next skip would be decades, and then the next skip would be hundreds of years. I don't know. Like, that's the way they presented it, but if there's water leaking, yeah, here we go. It would have been much quicker. End is never the end. Mar in the chat, yes. That's what the game says when you're loading. It's on the load screen. But it's the first time they've voiced it. Alright, we're one skip away from freedom, I'm guessing. Oh, we see some sun. We see some... Yeah. I mean, weather will do this. As a person who had to replace the roof, let me tell you, a slow leak doesn't take long to destroy everything. Oh. Well, that's kind of beautiful. I really like the colors because this game is drab. So when they pop in colors, it really has a strong feeling, I think. Okay, we skipped and it's nighttime, but all the plants are gone? Why would... Wait. Are we going backwards? Why would the plants be gone? They would be more plants. Unless this is the, like, end of the universe. Is this the heat death of the universe? What? You hear that? This has all of a sudden become a horror game again. Are these, like, aliens? I watched this horrible movie, I think it was on Netflix, where these kids, like, went down into a... Sorry. Oh, there we go. They went down into this, like, tunnel, and then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, the time, and then they look up, and there's, like, aliens, and they're like, what happened? And, like, 1,000 years went by. Anyways, it was horrible. Highly recommend. And, that's what this feels like now. Like, we're so far in the future that there's, like, alien species or something. The ground has shifted. Okay, we see outside. How has the world changed? Oh, wait a second. We're not in the real world. Remember, we're in his memory, like, palace, where he keeps all his memories of the game. So it's not actually even... The time is relative. Music is new. Can I push the button again? Kind of don't want to do it. Yeah, no worries, really. Grab some coffee. Good morning. Thanks for joining. Pretty. Yeah, it's pretty early. Okay, spending my birthday stream with me. Oh. Okay. I don't know if that was all of the new content. I'm not on Discord, by the way. I should get on Discord. Sorry. You know, I'm so bad about doing things The reason, actually, all of you should get on Discord if you're a big fan. But the reason is so people can see that you're on. So they'll go, hey, you're on. Let me move that over here. Boom, boom. I'm on Discord. Boom. There you go. I'm on Discord. Look at that. And now I have buttons. Do you see these buttons? I can just push a button and then this happens. It's so exciting. So exciting. And if you are interested in Discord, check out the Casually Hardcore Gaming group. Bunch of cool people. People like Grayly, people like Valor, people like Evo. Probably some other people in the chat, but those are the people that have said hello. Okay. So this is just, again, for those of you who just joined, this is the normal game. We just did all the new content.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, that's what he said before. This is the computer that said input needed, and now it doesn't say anything. And then through this door was new content. New content. New content. Okay, okay. So, now there's new content. I will say, this is an interesting game that evokes a lot of feelings and emotions that I enjoy that. So far, the new content has not done that.
Oh, good. You noticed my
felt
sign.
more like
Yes, I have something very
listening
exciting to show you.
I don't want to say rants, but listening to a conversation with game developers. A conversation I would find interesting and want to hear what they have to say, but not a game. Now remember, I never played the original, so I didn't spend my $25 on this game just for the new stuff. But the track clearly also goes that way, doesn't it? Why make the track if it doesn't go anywhere? I mean, we're here, right? This is what we're here for. So we're gonna see.
You
what's
see, Stanley,
here.
I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable.
This is different.
And about how roundly
what he's saying.
disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
Isn't that what I just said?
The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and
And
any new
too smart
content
for
for
me.
it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new
True.
territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Okay.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe?
Taste the
what does it
sequel.
even mean?
All right.
But the Stanley
Best
Parable
joke so far.
2, now
For some
that's
reason,
an
that's
artistic
very funny to
statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
So obviously, this is also a joke on making games, making sequels just to make money, franchises. But let's see where they go with it. I'm happy for the departure from the weird review thing they did. They're back. 2 doors. Okay, that's a good joke too. That's the logo of the company. Rose? Something? Sorry. Sorry, company. I mean, I doubt you're watching, but if you are, sorry, I can't remember your name. Not sorry though, because I bought your game. More TSP. The Stanley Parable. Okay, I was thinking that'd be some like acronym, like we were in Office Space, or maybe it's a double joke. Oh, I do have my Office Space mug. It's just full of stuff right now. So, anyways, Office Space. If you've ever worked in an office, It's a great movie for that reason. New mug. Talk to me before I've had my sequel. So they were all like silly coffee cups, and now they're all sequel. Okay, these jokes are funny. All of the little visual gags and all of the little signs and the mugs and everything. All right. I was a little down on the Ultra Deluxe. The narrator agreed with me, which is annoying. I feel like he's always saying what I'm saying, which is annoying. Because it means the game designers know too much about the way I'm thinking. But these jokes are actually so far much better than the other part. That one I don't get. I don't get that joke. If anybody wants to explain the two ferns, I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, and doors opening kind of scare me.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley
There's
Parable
two
2
Stanleys.
is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features
Good.
I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Right. Scrum. That's a word I have heard used, and I literally forget what it means. Design, pitch, break, pitch design. Oh. Okay, hold on. I'm sending out the link. Hold on. And there we go. And there we go. Okay, sorry. The game's a little wonky, and it is requiring me to use more screens and devices than I normally do. Eyes, ears, nostrils, arms, legs, toes, all sequel. Okay, this is... Again, I will say this is funny. I'm reserving complete judgment. This feels like a little bit... It feels a little bit like Half-Life 3, kind of like rumors and markups and stuff, but which is a good joke too. Obviously, people who play this game, I mean, generally play other games. That's mostly how games work. So I think that's the idea. I don't know. I'm making a lot of assumptions. It does look good. This is I like the colors. It's a huge change and difference. So I think I know what they're going for here, and I'm game.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Okay, is there a jump circle? Ooh, look at the new upgraded graphics. Ooh. I don't know if there's an order. Button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I was just...
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want?
Okay.
And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
I was just saying, this is funny. Again, this narrator knows me too well, and it's a little disturbing how well it knows me, because I was just saying in the earlier section when they were reading people's Steam reviews, I was just saying, wouldn't that be cool if you were that player and the game completely called you out, and then here we are. Like, it's like the game is listening to me before it makes these decisions. I love the buttons. Too big, too small, just right. Now for me, a button just can't be too big. So, I love a big button. Okay, let's see if this game's gonna dox me right now.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath.
Okay, I'm going to play along. We're going to do it.
Forget whoever you are and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine
I could very
yourself
easily be a
living as
person
Jim,
named Jim.
sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim,
think of the Office
seizing
Jim,
all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I think I'm as Jim as I'm ever going to be. So I don't know how to answer the narrator's question. Am I Jim?
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you!
So
the
silly.
button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Okay, all right. This is so stupid.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button.
Okay.
I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
So the narrator in the new content is kind of like silly, and they're guiding you through this journey. There's actually not a lot of choices, as you probably have noticed, compared to the base game. So I'm like having fun with the narrator, but there's this like dark memory I have of how rude and evil the narrator was like 2.5 hours ago. This narrator was like breaking me down and verbally taking me apart. So now we're having a great time, but I don't know. I'm still thinking about that.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
Took my button. I don't love it. I don't love it. Took my button. Let me just push this button. I've got too many devices now. Okay, there we go. Buttons pressed. I like the yellow. What is this? What does this remind me of? Is this Mirror's Edge? Was that yellow? It was like yellow and red. I don't know. I'm getting Mirror's Edge.
I suppose I could
vibe.
allow
Been a
only
long
people
time, though.
named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Please, no screenshots. I kind of feel like I should screenshot this, right? Like, or is that... Do they want me to screenshot this, right? This game is in my head. This game is in my head. That carpet is hideous. We have Nukin. You know, how you say names on the internet are always right. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. We're playing Stanley Parable, and it is my birthday stream. I don't know why I said it like that, but I did. But welcome to the show. Happy to see you here. The new updated ray tracing, more but the same in a good way. Okay, yeah, ray tracing doesn't really make sense in this game. Even if I understand ray tracing, which I'm not sure that I do, but it's a graphics thing. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining on my birthday stream. We're playing Stanley Parable, and this game is messing with my mind. That's what's happening. I don't know what else to tell you about it, because that's the main thing. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Jump circle, infinite hole. Okay, we do love an infinite hole. Downloaded an app in celebration of your birthday. Oh, well, thank you very much. Let me just also mention the Twitch app. I don't know if Twitch is listening. That'd be weird if they were, but it is horrible. It is so hard to use. Maybe it's an Android thing. Maybe it's a Twitch thing. Maybe it's an Amazon thing. I have no idea. Maybe it's a Google thing. Maybe they're all fighting each other. But it is shocking how bad it is. I often find that just going to the website is a much better experience if you can. But it will try to like force you to open the app. So you got to like desktop mode. whatever. Sorry, I won't get into tech help, but yeah, I do try to catch up with people. Okay, I don't really do maps. We're just gonna wander around. We have the little photo wall. Infinite hole. I do want to check out the infinite hole. Can you find them? Is this a hint? Collect them all? Oh. That looks cool in there, but we're gonna go there last, I'm guessing. The new jump circle. How many jumps are left? 33. That's how many jumps I left at the other one.
I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
What happens if I get down to 0? Do I do it? Dare I? What if I jump out of the circle? I don't want to get down. I want to get down to 0. We're gonna save some jumps. I don't know why. That's Stanley. Oh, he looks sad. That's me. That's the character. Does this shirt have... Oh, good. This shirt has a pocket. I tried my best. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be getting from this area right now. And that's a happy Stanley. Free achievement. It's yours right now. Pull the lever, receive your new achievement. No more steps. It just works. Okay, before we do that, we're going to go into the other room. I mean, this, you know... 2 is better than 1.
Okay, I'll be honest, I
greater than
haven't
1.
yet
That is
decided
true.
on this one. I think that in the new version,
Oh my, I have
the
all-
office could use a bit of decoration,
that-
like balloons. But I'm undecided on
Oh, it locked the
Get
door.
Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
You know what? I wasn't listening. So... Get well someday. Happy 12th birthday, Stepniece. I mean, get well someday is just kind of funny. As long as you give it to the right person at the right time. You know, the wrong person at the wrong time, it's not funny at all. It's horrible. And for me, I throw the word niece around a lot. I would never say stepniece. So I'm gonna go get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, stepniece, it is.
Okay. Oh, I gotcha. I got you, Gabe.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Merch. I hope I can go back to the other area. Yeah, he is a little bit of a jerk. Now, I personally love merch, so. Ooh, is this a real QR code? Feel free to scan it. Anybody who wants to. I don't know what it does, so, you know, do it at your own risk. I'll check it out later. It probably just takes you to the landing page of the game. I don't know. Oh, my nose itches. I'm not picking. I'm just pushing the side of it. Okay. Oh, we've been here before. Oh, okay. We're on the other side of the room. Okay, that's actually kind of a cool mug. Okay, okay, so that's the gym button again. Okay. I was hoping we didn't miss anything in here, and it seems like that is still true. Okay. We're gonna do the easy achievement. I mean, why not, right? What we're here for.
Now, here's something special.
I've only
remember
earned one
that broken
achievement
test
this game
achievement
so
that
far.
got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when
Developing
you
the
pull it,
technology.
the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, there are definitely not a lot of choices. This is an experience to have with the narrator. This is not a choice-based nihilism.
Okay, perhaps I should have
like the first
clarified.
game.
This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this
pull me.
feature.
Please
Gamers,
pull me.
we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
All right. I mean, it's a little bit of the same joke, so that's okay. I'm trying
What
not to
else?
judge this
What other
section too
exhibits
harshly
haven't we
yet.
seen yet?
Yeah, there's several things that we haven't seen yet. Collectibles. Can you find them all? This is really cool.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of
say,
watching
"Please
a number
pull me."
go up. You
Or pull me,
simply
please.
collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Cool. This is a very fair and funny criticism of collectibles in games. Because let me tell you, I find it rather annoying. Look at the hordes of people. It looks almost like a Hieronymus Bosch painting. Me, please pull. That's a good point, Valerie. I could say that. Okay, yeah.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Tragic. That's why you do it. Okay, I haven't been up here. Yeah, okay, I'll go up here first. I'm curious if this is
A
the
common
whole
complaint of the Stanley
the whole new
Parable
content
was
here.
that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it.
reassurance
Well,
bucket.
I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart.
Oh, wouldn't that
It's
be nice?
true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable.
I did
Can you
think
imagine
the
what a
game
pain
was
in the ass
uncomfortable.
that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
Oh, Mr.
Come on,
Bucket?
give it a try.
Well, I'm definitely gonna give it a try. I could use some reassurance.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your
I don't know
body.
about that
And
laughter.
in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
That kind of scared me.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Oh, thank you.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and
love a
on, don't
compliment.
they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay. Board members, please note that you must use the following terms as often as possible. Synergy, incentivize, unpack, ping, deep dive, reach out. Oh my goodness, I think I've used every single one of these this week. Ooh. Oh no, like non-ironically, every single one of those. Oh no, I'm gonna need the reassurance bucket now. Wasn't I just saying, I swear this game is reading my mind. When I went into the boardroom in the original game, released as 2013, and they had these kind of words on the wall, and I said, if this was released today, similar concept, but they'd be different words. Here are those words. Unpack, ping, deep dive, reach out, synergize. Oh boy. Oh, it's a little too real. Valor says you used Unpack and Deep Dive this week, or just ever in your life? Because I've used all of those.
Does anyone
this
give
week.
out awards for
I
most
think I used
enjoyable
Ping
bucket
like
in a
4
video
hours
game?
ago.
That really should be an
And
award
I don't
if it
work
isn't
on a
already.
submarine. Yeah, Valor, this week. Yep, Unpack and Deep Dive. I'm actually working on. I'm working on a project. There's literally one of the sections is called Deep Dive, and it's a great project. Don't get me wrong; it's a really important project I'm working on. But it is funny to be called out in a game like this. I'm working on a deep dive. I really am. Am Nelkin guilty for reach out? Yeah. Yep. Reach out. That's a good one. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. So far the Ultra Deluxe, I'm a little hit and miss, but then I've hit some jokes like that just make this whole thing worth it. And that was a little piece of paper hidden on the side, and then it wasn't super easy to read. We all use the same doublespeak. Yes, indeed. So I've already been in here.
You've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Rude. So I have my reassurance bucket, which I keep thinking of Skyrim or me as a child, and I just want to put the bucket on my head, right? Like, is that the joke? Like, the game is too uncomfortable, so you just, like, put the bucket on your head and cover your head. I don't have a bucket in here. Well, I have something very similar to a bucket. Okay. So we have almost explored this whole area, but we haven't explored the whole area. Oh. Are we going to talk about space-time? I love space-time. It's so fascinating. But not really. I mean, it is fascinating. Oh, the infinite hole. Yes, I wanted to see that. I don't know about this, but okay. They're trying to like provide a scientific reason for an infinite hole, which is a funny idea. Oh, is this the last thing? Ooh.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can
did
fall
that in
until
Portal.
the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Boy, I hope I didn't miss anything, because I feel like there's no coming back from an infinite hole. Oh. Let's just take a second to talk about game design here for a second. Not a game designer, but just as a player. When I walked into the room, this like drop ceiling was up, so I could see the hole. So I immediately saw the hole. And then, as I went down to it, the ceiling came down, and now it's a small room. So, kind of best of both worlds, which is just a cool idea. I saw it immediately, but it's not a big open room. Once I go in, I then immediately have a confined feeling. So, good job. Good job, Stanley Parable. All right, we're doing it. We're going into the infinite hole. Oh wait, the joke is none of this is finished, so this won't be finished.
One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then,
look around.
Since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Oh.
Ooh. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
Do we push the teleport
sooner
button?
rather than later spectrum of things.
Do we push the teleport button? Let's just give it a little
Stanley,
bit.
I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
Here we go.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, Good for you. You found
There
the
it is.
bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need.
Cigarettes.
Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Every pause button is a
Things got
Roman
a
numeral
little
too.
heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why
Just
don't we just put
make it
all
to
this behind us and agree to just
We
call
can
the
make it
whole
if we
mostly
try.
infinite? If that works for you,
I'm not a singer,
then go
but
ahead
that
and
might
press the
avoid me getting
teleport
a copyright
button
claim.
to warp up to the top of the hole, and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Okay, so I think I do have to teleport out, but more puns about the sequel, and I do appreciate that. I did read. I was going through the Twitch terms of service. You know, I'm new as an affiliate. I don't want to break any rules. I would like to think that my standard operating procedure would not break any rules, but you never know. And one of the things was specifically that you cannot even sing copyrighted songs. That's fortunately, I'm so off key that it will not be an issue. There is no computer algorithm in the world that can match my singing to reality.
Great. Now,
Teleport
I'm
back to
very
the top.
excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven. You see,
Just jumping.
I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time?
It did.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before.
Yes, I
mean,
noticed that.
Admittedly,
And look at the light
I
at the
didn't
top.
make an
It's bigger.
infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled.
I mean, we
Gosh,
have to, right?
How could I have guessed? You're back in the hole.
Yeah.
If this starts to become a thing where...
2 seconds. There you go. Yep.
Wow.
Much
Okay.
quicker.
Yes.
And
I'm
look at the light
starting
at
to
the top.
become extremely
a little
certain
bigger.
that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something.
It's the Heisenberg
Let's pop
uncertainty
back
principle.
up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Oh, now he wants us
there
to do
it
it?
is. The shame of my lie has come to
Doesn't
haunt
matter.
me. Not how is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge?
The
You just
narrator
do
is ready to
whatever
make
it
fun
is
of me.
you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Yes, if only I could jump. Oh,
Is
teleport
the,
button's not working.
Teleport button not working?
Oh, look at
You
this.
sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked
Ooh, I can stand
for.
on the
It's a
bucket.
win for everyone. You get to be with the hole. I get to do literally anything else.
And climb
Take
out
care,
using
Stanley.
the bucket. Oh, I guess
I
I can
hope
just
you
climb
and
out
the hole
using my
have a
hands
wonderful
and
rest
feet.
of eternity together.
See, I'm telling you, the narrator has a little bit of a dark side. Even here in the Ultra Deluxe expansion, where we're just having fun, you upset him, and look what happens. Oh, like I literally can't get out. Whoa. Okay. And and we're going down. For real. The game doesn't do music very often, so we're gonna celebrate it. Change your perspective. What a loaded statement that is, especially for a game like this. Oh, I might sneeze. No, come on, hold it together. Okay. No. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I just did a quick check. I uploaded an emote like 3 days ago, a new emote that I wanted to share with everybody. I thought today would be the perfect day, and it still has not. Still has not loaded, which is taking their time. I feel like I should push it, but I mean, I'm still going down, so I kind of don't want to push it. Man. Some choices in this game, you just can't seem to undo them. Like, you literally have to replay it all over again. And then other choices just don't seem to matter at all. 10 seconds later, you're basically redoing it. I'm gonna wait. And I also still haven't hit Y to teleport, so. Okay, still moving. Riveting content. I did mention on one of my posts some of the things I was going to talk about for my birthday stream are like little kind of weird passions of mine, and I've kind of joked around about flat Earth so far, but I will... Oh, we're almost there, right? Yeah, this is where the color changes. I will talk about credit card points. First of all, let me just say, don't get into credit card debt. Do not get into credit card debt. Do not ever pay interest. So I'm a big fan of trying to game the system. One of the YouTube channels I check out, Ask Sebi. I'm not saying do it or don't do it. Grayley wants me to wait. I'm going to wait because we're still moving and I think we're over halfway. So I am going to wait. I do appreciate the feedback though. Okay. All right, hold on. All right, Grayley has redeemed the channel points. She wants me to talk about credit card debt with a puppet. Oh, it looks like we stopped moving. Oh no, I gotta click on it. Let me just tell you, everybody, do not get into credit card debt because you're just spending money to pay back the money you already spent. But if you can responsibly purchase things on a credit card and pay off your debt, then you can earn a lot of points. So check out Ask Sebi on YouTube. And as long as you're responsible, you can get a lot of free travel. It's not about spending more money, it's about spending the money that you are already going to spend responsibly. There you go. Okay, that was silly. You're the first person to ever redeem my puppet talk. Why is my mouse... Oh, wait, I thought I clicked on it. Never mind, we're still going down. I clicked the wrong button. I'm an idiot. That's fine. I thought we were done, but we're still going. Yeah, we got one person, a fan of credit card points. So I will just say that a lot of people really get into cycles of debt, which is like vicious. I've seen that firsthand in my life. Not me, but in my life. So I always want to couch my credit card conversations with that, but I will also say that I've had many friends and family and especially myself where if you really pay attention to what you're doing, you get the app, you pay it off like every couple days, you're really responsible with your spending, you can take kind of your normal spending, money that you have to spend anyways, and you just apply it correctly to the right places. And then all of a sudden, now your next, trip, maybe you take one trip a year, maybe you take 2 trips a year, maybe you take 1 trip every 3 years, but your next trip could be covered largely in points. TwitchCon coming up in October in San Diego, for example. I booked the hotel using points. So there you go. That's all. Those are the general things I want to talk about. Unfortunately, because of a misclick, I was mentioning how this game's windowed mode is kind of weird, and I had some trouble with it. Well, we just experienced that. It actually, I had clicked off the game unintentionally, so it wasn't going down. But we're I don't know, 75%. The first time we went down this hole, that little dot, I could see it, but it was very small. So I feel like we're almost there. And you know what? There might not be any kind of payoff. But the payoff is this is my birthday stream. And the whole point is we're just doing something a little different. And we're just hanging out. That's all. That's the point. It's a birthday stream. I hope that if you're one of my friends, then I don't need to say this to you. But if you're a random person and this is your first time ever coming to the channel, I hope when you click on somebody that put it in their channel description that it's a birthday stream, that you know it's going to be a little silly. And there might be some waiting around when they talk. So, thank you. Thank you for joining. I did get some fun glasses, though. Can I just mention that? I got some fun glasses. These are donuts. So, why did I do that? Well, you're going to see why. Because, really, I got it just for this. But I couldn't find these on their own, so I had to buy a pack of different glasses. Oh, Valor, what are you doing? Valor, 5 gift subs. And we got some great people. OG got one. Spooky Joe, my friend Spooky Joe. Wow, thank you for the gift subs. That's 2 people gift subbing. That's amazing. 1,000 bits. I don't have a special message for 1,000 bits. I didn't plan this out. Well, thank you very much. Celebrating birthday stream. That's what we're doing. Wow. Oh, thank you so much. That's a ton of bits. That's the most bits. I will. Sorry. Let me do some math. Okay. So what this means, just those of you who don't know a lot about Twitch, now because of that, thank you very much. It opened up a new slot for me, so I can have more emotes, and I am working on those emotes. So we're gonna have lots new emotes for everybody, and eventually, when Twitch allows me, I also have follower emotes, so you don't have to subscribe. You know, everybody who subscribes, thank you so much. That's just like a huge, very nice thing to do, and I appreciate it. But you do not have to, obviously, at all. And Graylee, let me work on a 1K bits badge. I don't have those things. Oh, obviously I didn't prepare because there was no automated. I mean, that was just like the standard default message, a little gift, which is, you know, definitely better than nothing. But, you know, as you know, I like to record all my own sound effects. So, I'm open to suggestions. If there's a sound effect you'd like me to record, you let me know. As the first person to earn a 1K bits badge, that is amazing. I will work on that. Something new to work on. Yes. Yeah. I love the idea. Oh, did the light go out? Oh shoot. I was not paying attention. It's dark up there, and the first time I fell through, I remember looking up and it was a tiny speck of light. Yeah, the bananas were just a placeholder because I was frustrated that Twitch wouldn't approve my other emotes. But we will have some emotes coming. So it looks like okay. All right. So there is light. It's just a matter of an angle. Okay. So, I mean, wow. Well, thank you for the gift subs. Thank you for the bits. I want to reward you with fun little things you can click on and do. So I will be working on that. I did actually. I'm willing to take referrals because I have reached out to 2 different people and they both replied to me and said, "No, thank you. We don't want to work with you." And I was like, "Okay." Ouch. People to help me with the emotes because I have some ideas. It's execution. I don't know. I don't know. I just like Adobe. I'm using like a free Adobe account from like my last job that like it's still technically active, but I probably definitely shouldn't have access. Oh no. I just realized somebody on here might tell my old boss. That's okay. It doesn't cost him anything. No, I don't take it personally. All right, we got to click the button, right? Do we click teleport or do we click change our perspective? I have a feeling the way this game works. Yeah, there is a light at a certain angle, which is interesting. But if it doesn't look like it's shrinking, so we are at the bottom. It's also darker than before because before we could read all these things. All right, we're going to change our perspective, which is, again, a loaded term, and I think this game does it intentionally. Are we going to change the angle that we're looking at something, or are we going to change our perspective on life? We're going to find out right now. Oh! It was literal. I can't move, though. It's still going down, but it wasn't going down, so we broke the game again. Oh, very dramatic. He does kind of look like me. I have a better haircut, though. Change your perspective or change your perspective. That says perception. Reading. I can read. I do also realize I look like a very kind of like generic white guy, so it's not too hard to look like me. Okay, change your perception. Yes, those are very similar words. Okay, we're gonna hit it again. I kind of like the funkier music, yeah. Change your reality? I mean, we have to hit this. We have to hit this button, right? We have to. We have to hit this button. I can't look around, so I don't know what else is changing. Let me change my perspective. Now let me change my reality. What does that mean? What is happening? This is just changing the color of light. Now that's a nice color. Change yourself. Right here. Change yourself. The sound is. Sorry. It's making me shiver. Oh! I'm like a robot? Here, let me change my perspective. Okay. This is weird. Okay, I'm changing my perspective. Oh, I'm upside down. 427 is his employee ID number.
Stanley!
What?
Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert,
tripping out
Stanley.
there for a second.
I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
I still can't get out of this hole. Oh. I didn't push anything. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. So it just, like, reloaded this area?
Here we are. Oh. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
That's what I said before, but I have the bucket. This is a little bit like the Dark Tower series. I'm gonna look for the balloon room because... Oh, wait. I haven't been in here. Oh, this is like the one area I've been to. Okay, all right, before we do that, I want to look in the balloon room and see if it reset everything in here. Except for the bucket, obviously. Where is the balloon room? No. It didn't reset everything. It just reset me. Okay. I don't know if anybody's read the Dark Tower series, but... Well, never mind. I don't want to spoil it. The movie looked absolutely horrible, though, so I actually haven't seen it. Yes, but you know what I mean about the bucket? Like, now, this time I have the bucket. I don't know. I don't know if maybe I read that series the wrong way, so who knows. But felt like that was an important detail. Okay. This the end?
Epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Oh, okay. All right. That's been the joke so far, is everything here is not what it says it is. Why does the little collectible look so unhappy? I haven't been up here before, though, so... Mostly Infinite Hole. Change the name. Clever. The free achievement's still not working. This has been a very weird DLC. Okay. Well, it's not a DLC. I keep saying DLC, which is a downloadable content. It's not DLC. This is a re-release of the game with this new area, new content. That's what they keep calling it. New content. So I feel like I have done everything except deplete the jump circle. And I'm still here, so I don't know. I kind of want to check out the bucket room again, since I have the bucket. I have no way to get rid of the bucket. I still like the idea of the reassurance bucket, and in a way it's been the most comforting thing here, and then it came with the most discomforting moment. I feel like that was on purpose. Personally. I'll share a text with you all. They said, life tips, stay out of infinite holes. Could have just said it in chat, but all good. Okay, yeah, I mean, what else is there to do here? Like, I kind of, like, am I missing something? I've done everything, and now I have double-checked several things. Oh! Okay, well, the infinite hole is closed, so that's new. The holy moly, deep can we dig? The answer will mildly surprise you. Yeah, no problem, Val. It is rather late. Thank you for the gift subs. Wonderful, wonderful little birthday stream. Appreciate that. Everybody just been so amazing. Have I gone in here? I know I went in here. I feel like we're at the end of the game. But this is the kind of game that messes with you. So how would you know? Okay, we did the bucket. I'm gonna start checking doors. When I did the infinite hole to the point of breaking the game, it set me back here. And I wonder if that is significant. Is it significant? What time is it, by the way? Ooh. Not doing too bad. I kind of wanted to beat the game all in one go. I may have? I don't know. We've been playing for 3.5 hours. I mean, there's some things in the base game that I probably could explore in a little bit more detail. I don't know. This is a weird game. And I had some really strong feelings, which I think is a good sign, about the base game. And I have less strong feelings about this part. That might not be a good feeling. I don't know. It's very different. This is like a guided little interesting, silly adventure, where the first game was kind of this like confusing, philosophical, thought-provoking thing. That's a cute too, though. Let me tell you that. No? Yeah, I mean, this... Jeez. I mean, if you see anything I haven't looked at, feel free. Let's... at this point, I've kind of double-checked everything. That's the hole. That's the balloon. I'm going to check the free achievement again. It didn't work before. This looks like a truck backing up. Can I get in there? No, that's just lighting. Okay. Okay. Alright, we're checking all the doors. This is not a game really of hidden doors. But that's why they might do it. To be different. Sorry, I'm just having such a weird moment here as I walk around doing everything. Like, I kind of feel like, oh, the collectible's gone. So I'm walking forward, but this room was lit up, like, kind of dark before, so I don't know if I'm actually still walking forward or not. Like, I have no way of knowing. I don't hear footsteps. Okay, I'm gonna step back. Yeah, okay. So that room ends in like 3 feet. So that's nothing to do there either. The only thing we haven't done is fully depleted the jump circle. Wait. Oh, I don't think I've been up here. See, this is why I keep looking around. It's so easy to miss stuff.
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
I think I've had one of those. Like messenger bag accordion file thing. Okay, so how many times did I wander around before I found this? New mug! Okay. Yeah. I guess that was it. How many people are going to be posting a screenshot of the no screenshot sign
what do you
for
think?
their thumbnail?
Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment.
Okay.
I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Yeah, it's not going to.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
This game is quite funny. This part of the game. The original non-new content part that I started with.
Here, right? It
was
sort of
stressful.
Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better.
It was downright cruel
Here we go.
in some ways.
Version 2.
Very interesting, the distinction.
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Are those two
This
incident
isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it, tastefully, of course, with respect, with care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction,
Still have the
"This
bucket."
is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Hey! Stanley Parable 2. Barely rain. Redeem the hug. Here's the hug pillow. Hug from me to you. Hug ourselves. Hug each other. Hugs are great. They make you feel better. I guess I didn't think about what I was going to say when you redeem a hug. But there we go. This is a weighted pillow that has brought me a lot of comfort. So I hold it, I hug it. I also use it as a pillow. Sometimes I prop my phone on it when I travel. It's great as a travel pillow. It does often raise red flags of security, so I just put it on the outside of my bag now because they're. Oh, what is this? Oh, we pretend that we do anything here. It's all just theater. Okay, this is a separate topic. So this is a new title screen, right? Do we sit here for an infinite amount of time? So our long descent into the hole turned out it didn't change anything. We needed to start hitting buttons before it did anything. All right, let's see what happens when we get to the end of the story, and then I'm gonna hit begin new game, and then we're gonna see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. Is this the beginning? Did it just loop? We're just gonna make sure it looped. Okay, I think it looped. All right, begin new game. Let's see what happens. You say yikes? Yeah, sorry. I haven't had the best experience at airports.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
But we don't have to talk about it.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building
where
he was employee
This is the
number
beginning of the
427.
game, the normal game.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk.
This is the exact same
telling
intro
him what
when I first started the
buttons
game
to
for the
push,
first time.
how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay. This is how the game started. But now there's these
All of
balloons.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, there's my bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
That's new. Okay. So we just have these like random things thrown in. How does the bucket change the story?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind.
the bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
All right. I'm
And
gonna...
so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I've actually never been down here. Okay. So far as I can tell, this is just like the normal game, and there was quite a bit I didn't explore.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I
But now
knew you'd
there's-
find this place eventually.
Okay.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because
I
we
think
care
this is
about
part of
you
the
very
original
much.
game. I just have never been down
It's
here.
this bucket you're carrying around everywhere.
But the bucket's new.
The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of
We're
their
talking a lot about
favorite
sequels, but
jokes,
this
not
is
this
from the first
bucket
one, too.
that they've never
Interesting.
seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
I've never seen the Adventure Line. I would say if you're playing the game for the first time, don't go in the new content area until you've...
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who
thoroughly
knows where it'll
explored
go off
the
to
game.
next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Okay, this is so weird. Yeah, I would say thoroughly explore the game, probably 3 to 4 hours, and then hear the new content, because I'm actually genuinely curious what's different here. Because I never made my way down to the Adventure Line through the
Now
first
this
playthrough.
is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Is it the bucket? Do I have to give up the bucket? Wait. Oh, you want me to wait? You just gonna grab your coffee? I'll wait. Let's talk about the game real quick. Okay. The game is $25 on Steam. If you have never played... Oh, he said I'm gonna have to give something up because I'm addicted. Oh, before he said he was addicted to drugs and women that you pay for. I think it was a little joke. How late is it? Are we on adult time? All the kids are in bed.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character.
Oh.
This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Oh, see, like
I think it'll make
obviously
a
this wasn't
wonderful
in the first
new
game, but I
addition
don't
to
know
the
where
rich
this
lore
went
of the Stanley
originally.
Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
I mean,
Go
I'm
ahead
okay with
now,
destroying the
Stanley.
bucket. I'm actually not
Say
that
goodbye
attached
to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine
This
when
is
you're
not
ready.
like the companion cube in Portal, where that was a real emotional lift for me.
Now listen to me.
Just throw in
It's
that
crucial
companion
that you
cube.
give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
I'll throw it in.
Destroying buckets
Calm
is
down.
all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
Oh.
Well, you see, if you were to really explore the
walls
Bucket
shaking, I feel
Destroyer,
like I'm not
you would
gonna
see
throw
that
the
its
bucket in.
desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this
now I'm
game
just
can you
thinking,
even
what
say
would this
that
be
about?
like if
The
I
Broom
hadn't
Closet? Certainly not.
done
I
the
wonder
new
what sort
content.
of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the bucket destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the bucket destroyer until you crush that damn bucket.
No, I'm
quickly
definitely not
now.
gonna-
The fans
no,
are
no.
waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and
Tablet here. There we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bucket not destroyed. Now what? Now what happens? It knew I wasn't going to destroy the bucket after it started in on me.
Bucket destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Uh-oh. I see the clip. Uh-oh. I'll check that out later. Okay. So it reset me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Oh,
Stanley
there's
decided
the
to go
bucket.
to the
I'm not
meeting
going to grab
room.
the bucket.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I want to see what the
When
adventure line
Stanley
is.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he
We're
entered
going
the
to go
door
straight
on
there
his
because
left.
I never got to experience that without the bucket.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
Oh,
decided
shoot, I
to
went the
go
wrong
up
way.
to his coming to a staircase.
Okay, we're gonna do something
Stanley
different.
walked upstairs to
Oh,
his
now I wish I
boss's
had the
office.
bucket. Son of a bucket.
Here's the door, just go.
Here's the door, just go. Yeah, the game, like, it knows that you're on, like, on multiple attempts here. Alright, now I don't know what I'm doing because I wanted to bring the bucket here and I wanted to not do the bucket the other area. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, I gotta just do it.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Now I'm just curious how this is gonna go. I want to try just like one other thing and then probably call it a
The
stream.
lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
He seems bored.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
I think that's
Did
pretty
he
funny.
have the strength to find out?
Man, now I know. Actually, I don't really have a game plan right now.
Now the monitors jumped to life,
gonna see
their
what
true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley
Oh,
really
yeah,
been
you're
under
seeing this for the
someone's
first time.
control
This is
all
actually-
this time? Was this
You
the
can
only
get to
reason
this
he
right
was
away.
happy
If
with
you
his
just listen to
boring
what he
job?
says-
That his emotions had been
You beat the
manipulated
game
to
in 10
accept
minutes.
it
You just follow
blindly?
him.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life
Everything's
in
the same
someone
if you
else's
don't have the
control?
bucket.
Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire
You
life
see your
utterly
screen.
blind
Oh, yeah,
to the
but it's
world?
just your desk. Yeah, but yeah, you can find your screen. It's just your desk.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls
Very
labeled with
Matrixy, yes.
emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
The first time you
And
see
as the
this, it's
cold
really cool.
reality
So
of
I'm
his
sorry that
past
you're catching
began
it
to
like the
sink
fifth
in,
time I've been in
Stanley
here.
decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would
We're gonna turn the mind control
Oh,
on.
Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I hope you hold your
I think
effort,
this is the
really
last
do.
run.
But you need to understand, there's
then I'm
only
gonna-
so
I'm
much
gonna
that
call
machine
it-
can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to
if you turn the
story
controls
track,
off,
you're going to have to do
it
much
opens
better
up the
than that.
nature. And
I'm
you're
afraid you
called a
don't have
hero
nearly the
game.
power you
But,
think
like,
you do,
haven't
for
learned
example,
anything, you haven't
and
done
I
anything,
believe
you didn't
you'll
make
find
any
this
decisions.
pertinent. Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
DNA.
How long until
There's a
detonation then?
waiting-
Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun,
Oh,
isn't
2
it,
minutes.
Stanley?
Before it was like
it's
30
your
seconds.
time to shine. You are the star.
3.
It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it.
Nope,
Mere
3 does
moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10? 100? 1,000? I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail. Just you and me and the retching explosion of fire and metal over and over and over
this
for
isn't
all
even
of
the worst
eternity.
ending.
And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever.
And that's one ending. Yeah, it's not even close to the cruelest. But then you end up here, and it's like 11:20, and it's the same old story again.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
But the bucket changes things. So part of me wants to. I don't even know how many branching paths there are, but I don't know, like maybe I've seen 8 or 9 that kind of like end, like it feels like an ending. Only like none of them are happy. I think that's the point. But I kind of wonder what it looks like with the bucket. Oh, look at the screens. This is new. So, Things are a little different, like every time you play it, and I wonder if it really matters.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
They keep insisting that the bucket is for comfort. Oh, and it is called the sequel. It is not the sequel. Okay, so we did it. Shout out to all of my friends, new and old, that came to support on my birthday stream. Definitely had the most people here, so thank you everybody, and thank you for the new people. Hope you enjoyed the stream and our little chit chat, and I had a ton of fun. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you Saturday for more Lego Star Wars. I'm really, really non-ironically enjoying that game, so I hope you do as well. Thank you, Evo, for the gift subs. Thank you, Valor, for the gift subs, and Grayley with the massive 1,000 bits.